had to realize that I was worth loving, loving, loving. I had to realize that I was worth loving, loving, loving.
Welcome back to another episode of the Worth Loving Podcast. I am your host, Keana W. Mitchell, and today we're going to be talking about a topic that many people struggle with after heartbreak or betrayal or the end of a long relationship, and that is, how do you know if you're really, truly ready to date again? So this is a common question that I hear all the time, and the truth is, there is really no one-size-fits-all answer. Readiness is deeply personal. Is shaped by your emotional health, your nervous system, and your healing process, and your ability to trust yourself again. Dating after heartbreak can feel confusing. On one hand, you might crave connection, compassion, or even the excitement of meeting someone new. On the other hand, you might feel fear, hesitation, or uncertainty about repeating old patterns or getting hurt again. And that tension, that push and pull, is completely normal. So today we are going to break down what readiness actually looks like from a psychological, emotional, and somatic perspective. And we're going to talk about what leading psychologists say about healing and relationship readiness, how to tell the difference between wanting connection and wanting a distraction, or how your body knows the truth before your mind does. So if you have been wondering whether you're ready to step back into the dating world again, or if you're still in that in-between space where you're not sure, this episode is for you. So let's get into it. But before we do, let's talk a little bit about what we talked about last week on the podcast, okay? So I want to take a minute to recap last week's episode of the podcast where we talked about how to heal from an affair. Now that episode was powerful because we explored the emotional, psychological, and relational impact of betrayal, something that can shake your sense of safety, identity, and trust to the very core. We talked about how healing from an affair isn't just about moving on. It's about rebuilding your internal world, understanding what happened, and reclaiming your sense of self. We talked about the stages of healing after betrayal, which can include shock, grief, anger, and eventually acceptance. We talked about how important it is to allow yourself to feel your emotions without judgment, and how suppressing your pain can only delay the healing process. We also explored how trust is rebuilt, not with another person first, but within yourself. You have to learn to trust your intuition again, trust your boundaries, and trust your ability to choose differently in the future. One of the biggest takeaways from last week's episode was this: healing is not linear. Some days you're going to feel strong and grounded, and other days you'll feel triggered or overwhelmed. And that's okay. What matters is that you're moving forward, even if the steps are small. This connects directly to today's topic, because after betrayal or any painful breakup, the question eventually becomes, when will I be ready to date again? Or will I ever be ready to date again? And the truth is, readiness depends on where you are in your healing journey. So we are going to talk about what that actually looks like today. Before we dive back into today's conversation, I want to take a minute to personally invite you into something very special, into my You Are Worth Loving signature coaching program. This is my 12-week trauma-informed coaching experience designed to help you break unhealthy patterns, rebuild your self-worth, and create emotionally safe relationships that actually feel good for your soul. If you've been listening to the Worth Loving podcast and thinking, I'm ready for deeper support, this is your next step. Inside the program, we work together one-on-one to help you reconnect with your voice, your boundaries, and your confidence, so you can stop settling for relationships that drain you and start choosing ones that honor you. I'm only taking 3 clients for the month of May because I honestly want to give each person the time, energy, and care they deserve. So, if you've been waiting for a sign to start your healing journey, this is it. Click the Stan Store link in the show notes to apply or learn more. You are not too much. You are not broken. You are worthy of love, and you are worthy of relationships that feel safe, healthy, and whole. Now, let's get back to today's episode. So when we talk about being ready to date again, we are not talking about whether you feel lonely, bored, or curious. We're actually talking about emotional readiness, which is the ability to enter a new relationship with calm, clarity, stability, and self awareness. According to Dr. John Gottman, one of the leading psychologists in relationships, emotional regulation is one of the strongest indicators of relational readiness. So, if you can manage your emotions without becoming overwhelmed or reactive, you're more prepared to navigate the ups and downs of dating. Dr. Sue Johnson, the founder of Emotionally Focused Therapy, explains that secure attachment behaviors like self soothing, emotional clarity, and stable boundaries are signs that you're ready to connect with someone new. If you're able to express your needs, communicate your feelings, and maintain your sense of self in a relationship, then that is a strong indicator of readiness. Trauma psychologist Dr. Judith Herman also talks about the importance of reclaiming safety and your identity and empowerment after emotional wounds. She explains that healing involves restoring your sense of agency, which is the belief that you can still make choices that protect your well being. So, if you're still in a place where you feel powerless, confused, or emotionally unstable, dating may feel overwhelming or unsafe. So, readiness isn't about timing, it's not about what your friends think you should do or when your friends think you should quote unquote get back out there. It's about your emotional capacity. It's about whether you can show up as your healthiest self, not your wounded self, but your healthiest self in a new relationship. And that is very important. So, when we talk about what readiness actually looks like in real life, one of the clearest signs you're ready to date again is that you no longer are emotionally activated by your ex. You can think about them without spiraling, crying, or feeling rage. You're not checking their social media. You're not replaying a breakup or fantasizing about closure. You've come to a point in your life where you've accepted what happened and you're not trying to rewrite the past. Another sign is that you feel grounded, not desperate. You want connection, not rescue. You're not looking for someone to fill a void or distract you from your pain. Instead, you're looking for someone who complements your life, not someone who completes it. You also have clarity about what you want. You know your non-negotiables, and remember we did that earlier earlier this year. We had that podcast episode about setting relationship goals where we talk about non-negotiables. So when you know if you're ready to date, you know your non-negotiables, you know your boundaries and your values. You understand your patterns, the ones you're not repeating, and you're committed to choosing differently. Communication is also another big indicator. If you can express your needs without fear or guilt, and if you can say no without panicking, that's a sign of emotional maturity. You're not afraid of conflict and you're not afraid of being alone. And finally, you feel emotionally safe within yourself, which is key and so important. You trust your intuition again. You're trusting yourself again. You trust your ability to walk away if something feels wrong. You're not afraid of vulnerability because you know you can handle whatever comes your way. So these are signs that you are ready to get your foot back into the dating scene and that you're going to be dating from a place of strength and not survival. Now, let's talk about the other side, the signs that you are not ready to date again. One of the biggest red flags is emotional entanglement with your ex. If you're still stalking their social media, comparing yourself to the person they're dating, or feeling devastated when you see them move on, you're not emotionally free yet, and you're still tied to the past. Another sign is wanting to date to avoid pain. If you're using dating as a distraction, a coping mechanism, or as a way to get validation, then that's not readiness, that's avoidance. And avoidance always catches up with you. You may also feel numb, shut down, or emotionally unavailable. If you can't imagine trusting anyone, or if you feel nothing when someone shows interest, your heart is still in protection mode. As trauma expert Dr. Bessel Kolk explains, trauma keeps the body in a state of hypervigilance. So if your nervous system is still dysregulated, dating will feel unsafe, overwhelming, and confusing. Another sign is a lack of clarity. If you don't know what you want, what your boundaries are, or what a healthy relationship actually looks like, you're not ready to choose someone because you don't yet know what you're choosing for or what you're looking for. And finally, if you are still in survival mode, which is constantly anxious, triggered, or emotionally unstable, dating will only amplify these feelings. You need emotional stability before you can build emotional intimacy. So these signs don't mean you'll never be ready. It just simply means that you need more time and more healing and more self-connection before stepping back into the dating world and meeting someone new. And that is perfectly okay, because remember, we always say that healing is not something that happens at once. It does take time. So if you see, okay, well, I do exhibit some of these behaviors that we just talked about, it is no shame in just taking more time to work on yourself before you get back into the dating world. One of the most common questions people ask is, how long should I wait before dating again? And the truth is, there is no universal timeline, but research does give us some helpful guidelines. Relationship experts like Dr. Gary Lewandowski explains that people who take time to reflect and rebuild their identity after a breakup tend to have healthier future relationships. He emphasizes that the period after a breakup is a crucial time for self-growth, self-reflection, and emotional recalibration. Studies show that a typical breakup, one without trauma or betrayal, in those type of relationships that break up, people often need about 3 to 6 months to emotionally reset. Now, that doesn't mean that you'll be fully healed, but it means you've had enough time to process the loss, understand what happens, and reconnect with yourself. However, when the breakup involves trauma, emotional abuse, or betrayal, like an affair, the healing process is longer. Research suggests that people may need 6 to 18 months, depending on the depth of the emotional wound. So this doesn't mean that you can't date sooner, but it does mean you should be honest with yourself about where you are in your healing journey. The key to this is that it's not about calendar time, okay? It's not about months or how long it takes. It is about your emotional capacity. If you're still triggered, overwhelmed, or unsure of yourself, more time may be needed. If you feel grounded, clear, and emotionally stable, you may be ready to explore that connection again. Your body is one of the most powerful indicators of whether you're ready to date again. Trauma expert Dr. Peter Levine explains that the body often knows the truth long before our mind does. So let's talk about body-based cues that can help you understand your readiness. When you are ready, your body feels calm. When someone shows interest, you don't feel panic, tension, or dread. Your chest feels open, not tight. Your breathing is steady and deep. When you imagine going on a date, your body feels grounded, maybe even excited, instead of overwhelmed. You feel safe in your own skin, and you're not constantly bracing for something to go wrong. On the other hand, when you're not ready, your body will tell you. You might feel tightness in your chest or stomach. You might feel frozen, numb, or shut down. You may experience panic or dread at the thought of dating. Even if someone is kind, respectful, and emotionally available, your body may still feel unsafe, not because of them, but because your nervous system is still healing. Your body often communicates through energy. So if you feel drained, exhausted, or overwhelmed just by the idea of dating, that's a sign you might need more time. If you feel grounded, curious, and open, that's a sign that you may be ready to date again. So just make sure that you pay attention and listen to what your body is saying to you. Now, before you step back into dating, there are a few key parts of the healing process that needs to happen first. The first is emotional clarity. You need to understand what happened in your past relationship, what patterns were present, and what you want to do differently moving forward. Without clarity, you risk repeating the same cycles. The second part is that the nervous system needs to be regulated. So if your body is still in fight or flight mode, dating will feel unsafe. You need to learn how to self-soothe, how to calm your body, and how to recognize when you're being triggered. This is essential for building healthy emotional connections. The third part is identity rebuilding. So after a breakup, especially a painful one, you may feel disconnected from yourself. You may question your worth, your judgment, or your ability to trust. Healing involves reconnecting with who you are outside of relationships. It involves rebuilding your confidence, your self-worth, and your sense of identity. And the fourth part is boundary strengthening. You need to know your limits, your non-negotiables, and your values. You need to practice saying no, protecting your peace, and honoring your emotional needs. And finally, you need to relearn trust slowly, trusting yourself first, trusting your intuition, trusting your ability to walk away if something feels wrong or off, trusting that you can choose differently this time. Healing isn't about perfection, it's about readiness, and readiness comes from doing the internal work. Now, the song we're going to listen to is called Broken Hearts, and it is by our podcast artist and my alter ego, Emery Rose. So here is the song, Broken Hearts.
We used to laugh and have fun. I used to think you were the one. All of this time I gave you my heart. I thought nothing could tear
back into dating, here are some practical questions to help you understand where you truly are emotionally. Question number 1. Ask yourself, am I dating because I want connection or because I want a distraction? If you're looking for someone to fill a void, that's a sign you need more time. But if you're looking for someone to share your life with, not fix it, that's a sign of readiness. You can ask, do I trust myself to walk away if something feels wrong? If the answer is no, you may still be healing. But if the answer is yes, that's a sign of emotional strength. Question number 3. Can I communicate my needs without fear? If you're afraid of being honest, or if you tend to silence yourself to keep the peace, you may need more time to heal and to build confidence. You can ask yourself this question. Do I feel emotionally safe within myself? If you're still anxious, triggered, or overwhelmed, dating may feel too heavy. But if you feel grounded, calm, and centered, that's a sign that you're ready. And finally, the last question to ask yourself can be this. Am I choosing from loneliness or from clarity? Loneliness leads to rushed decisions. Clarity leads to healthy ones. These questions aren't meant to judge you. They're meant to guide you. They are meant to help you understand your emotional landscape so that you can make choices that honor your healing. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to remind you that readiness is not a race, okay? Being ready doesn't have to happen fast. There is no timeline you have to follow, no pressure to get back out there, and no rule that says you have to be in a relationship to be whole. Your healing is a journey, and it's your journey. It's a personal, sacred, and unique journey. Dating again after heartbreak is a big step. It requires emotional clarity, self-trust, and a grounded sense of who you are. It requires listening to your body, honoring your boundaries, and choosing from a place of strength, not fear. If you're not ready yet, that's okay. Give yourself some grace. Give yourself time. Healing is not linear, and there's no shame in needing more space to grow. And if you are ready, step into dating with confidence, clarity, and self-awareness. You deserve a relationship that honors your worth, respects your boundaries, and supports your emotional well-being. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope this episode gave you a little bit of clarity, comfort, and direction as you navigate your healing journey. If you found this helpful, share it with someone who might need it. And as always, remember, you are worthy of love, worthy of healing, and worthy of choosing relationships that honor who you are. Until next time, take care of your heart, have an amazing day, and a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.